So let's go back to talking about those processors, Greg. Who needs what?
Mm,
When we talk about fast, faster, and fastest, right? Because that seems to be the approach that they're taking. Who really needs what?
uh, 98% of people can get the regular M3 in whatever
Right?
machine they decide that makes the most sense for them. If it's a they don't have the MacBook
Right.
Airs with the M3s yet. I'm assuming that'll be coming,
Yeah, I'm
sometime
sure it's
next
coming.
year. So, but the M2 is fine, right? I mean, it's not like you're getting an inferior machine just by going with the M2. But
Yeah,
so I think that M3 is probably for almost almost everybody.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. And then I think if you go to let's go clear to the other end, right? If you go to the Max, I think that's for high end.
right.
Super. They talked about being able to use big AI models, deal with big
Hmm.
AI models using it, and if I think of maybe scientists running stuff that
Yes,
they used to have to run on a supercomputer, which is amazing that they can run it on their desktop or
right.
potentially even their
On
phone.
something this thin, on a
Yeah, yeah,
laptop this thin, right?
yeah. So I think that's I mean, graphic artists, if you're doing giant 3D modeling and all of that kind of stuff, I think you definitely need to
Yeah,
consider going up to that max processor. Or, if you need the ultra, which we still haven't heard how good it is, if you need the
yeah.
ultra, you know it. If you
Oh yeah,
don't know that you
yeah,
need the ultra, and actually that probably applies to the max too. If you don't know that you need the max, you probably
yeah.
don't.
You probably don't. Yeah. So, and just to add to that, I think if you're sitting there and you're like, "Oh, this is going to be very expensive. I really want this." If what you do for a living, if you have a thought that the Max is going to be the M3 Pro Max is going to be too expensive for what you need, it's not for you.
Yeah.
It's not right. These are people who whatever they produce, whether they're making feature length animation or like you said, scientists or whatever, they're going to go and buy this laptop like it's nothing, right? Because this
Yeah.
is just going to add to, you know what I mean? The price is not going to be a factor to them.
Yeah.
If it's a matter to you, it's not for you. So M3 Max aside, that's going to be for, like you said, professionals, scientists, people that are making Pixar linked movies, animation, and
Yep.
graphics and things like that. The company's going to be buying those. The price doesn't matter one bit to them. So I have here Joe's pros and everyone in between, right? So the average Joe is going to get the M3, and it's an awesome
And it'll
processor.
probably be more than they need.
Yeah, it'll probably be more than you need. They just looking at those numbers, and again, we're not going to go into all of the specs and all of the details, but just with the GPU and the CPU, that's going to be way more than anyone needs, right? So that entry level MacBook, and again, I'm calling it entry level. It's still a MacBook Pro,
Yeah.
right? It just has an entry level um,
M3 chip.
processor, the M3
Yeah.
chip in it. That's going to be good for 98% of the people. Now, if you're someone that requires a little more, you're doing graphic art, animation, you're a podcast creator, content creator for YouTube, you're doing a lot of video stream editing and stuff like that, then the M3 Pro, a little more pricier, but it's going to be what you need, right? That's going to be the processing level of what you need, right? Even if you're, you know, if you make a living from your laptop, right? If whatever content you're creating, if you're getting an income or whatever for it, then M3 Pro would be a good choice for you, right?
Yeah,
So
there's
just
one
looking at that.
yeah, sorry, Jason. There's one other thing that goes along with that, which is
Mhm,
I'm just trying to make sure I say this correctly. So, yeah, it's going to be faster. Like if you think about video rendering, right? The Pro's
mhm,
just going to do it faster, and
right.
that's great. Um, but the other thing that is the difference between the 14-inch with the M3 chip versus the
Mhm.
14-inch with the Pro or the Pro Max chip is ports. So,
Yes, right. That's
um,
right.
yeah, so they all come with MagSafe. So you're going to charge via MagSafe. Now you can charge in one of the Thunderbolt ports, but
Right.
for the entry level one, you get two Thunderbolt ports.
Yes.
And for the Pro or the Pro Max one, you're going to get 3 Thunderbolt ports. And I'm just trying to find it here on this comparison page. I know it's in here. There it is. Yeah. So you get an HDMI port, you get a card slot with both of them, and then you get 2 Thunderbolt slash USB C USB 4 on the entry level MacBook Pro, the 14-inch, right, with the M3 chip. But then you get
Hmm.
3 Thunderbolt 4 ports on the Pro or the Pro Max or the Max chips, but
Right.
it's actually down. I mean, um, I'm looking at my Intel MacBook Pro right here, and it's actually got 4. Now, one of them you would have to use to charge. So, that takes away one. So still I have 3.
Hmm.
And I'm actually currently using all 4 USB-C ports, not to charge because I'm doing pass-through charging from my monitor. So I've got 2 monitors
Right.
hooked up, and I've got a microphone and my phone as continuity camera because I like to tether that in. So I'm actually been struggling with this for a week now, even on the old
Hmm.
models, figuring out what I'm going to do. So that's the other thing to think about. If you're big time into peripherals and don't want to have a USB-C hub or that kind of stuff, you may want to consider that other machine for that. Pretty much everything else is the same, other than you can get more memory and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another consideration. But I think that's for, I think, well, we'll talk about this more in the post show
Yeah.
too, right? But I think if you're a creator or an influencer, and I like how you said it, if you make your living on this machine, then it's probably worth it to go up, and it's not that much more expensive.
Right.
So if you want more on that, stick around to the post show because Jason's got to try and fix my brain on some of this
Right.
stuff. So, but yeah, I like this. Joe's Pros and everyone in between. You know it if you need the top high end. And by the way, you can buy a 16-inch MacBook Pro fully decked out. It's like $7,500, $8,000 is if you
Wow.
max out everything. If you need
Right.
that laptop, you know it, right?
You know it.
If you make money off of this laptop, you probably want the Pro chip. And
Yeah.
for everybody else, you want the Air or the entry level. And it just
Right.
depends on what your needs are.
Right. Right. And back to the Max again. That price tag is it's outrageous. So either the company's going to be buying it, or someone's company is going to be buying it, or you just need it. You know you need it. So.
But there was a great article several years ago when they were talking about Pixar, and they were talking about how Pixar, for every feature film they bought
Hmm.
everyone that worked on the film the brand new highest end
Yep.
computers that they
They
could
maxed
buy. And
out.
you're talking, I mean, when they announced some of those Mac Pros, right, you're talking $50,000 or whatever it is, computers,
Right.
and you get
Right.
multiple high end monitors, that cost $10,000 each or whatever the case may be. They don't even blink,
Yeah.
and they don't recycle them at the end of doing the feature film. They buy the next one because it's
Yeah.
more
Because
powerful.
it's more
Yeah,
powerful because
and
they take a couple of years to produce
yeah,
some of these films. Yeah.
and it isn't just about how fast can it generate the animation, right? But it's also about how many times can they
Yes.
generate, right? And how much detail that they put into this stuff. So if you need it like that, you know it. And I'm glad I know that I don't need the Max chip.
Right. Right.